In early March 2025, the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center announced plans to maintain a fleet of 90 QF-16 drones by the mid-2030s. Today, we'll be discussing another unmanned F-16 variant, but this one is called the X-62A VISTA, which is fundamentally different from the QF-16. The X-62A VISTA is capable of autonomous combat and has outperformed top Air Force pilots in simulated tests. So, why is the U.S. military developing an unmanned version of the F-16? And what role will it play in actual combat? Since the advent of artificial intelligence, the Air Force has sought to integrate AI into fighter jets. The first step toward replacing human pilots with AI was to conduct simulated tests. In 2019, DARPA launched the Air Combat Evolution Program, selecting 8 companies to develop AI systems. Among these, Lockheed Martin was the most well-known, but surprisingly, it was defeated by an obscure company. These AI systems were trained using flight simulators, and the 8 companies competed against each other, with the final winner earning the chance to engage in a one-on-one dogfight against a top Air Force pilot. In November 2019, DARPA held the AlphaDogfight trials, followed by additional competitions in February and March 2020, where AI systems engaged in simulated air battles. In the final round, Lockheed Martin faced off against Heron Systems, and shockingly, Lockheed Martin lost by a score of 4-16. In August 2020, the final AlphaDogfight competition took place. Heron Systems AI fought an Air Force ace in 5 simulated engagements, both using F-16. As expected, after defeating chess grandmasters and Go champions, AI once again triumphed, winning all 5 rounds with a flawless 5-0 record. During these simulated battles, both sides were restricted to using only their cannons, relying on tactical maneuvers to gain positional advantage. The AI dominated the Air Force ace, giving him no chance to counterattack. The pilot was forced to focus entirely on evading AI's relentless attacks, but ultimately failed. In subsequent tests, DARPA expanded the air combat scenarios from 1v1 to 2v1 and 2v2, successfully validating AI-driven air combat across multiple scenarios, including man-unmanned teaming. These trials demonstrated that AI could redefine the future of aerial combat. Through the AlphaDogfight trials, the Air Force successfully verified AI's combat effectiveness. The next step was to install AI on real aircraft. In August 2022, the Variable In-Flight Simulator Test Aircraft, an F-16 variant, conducted its first test flight at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Originally designated NF-16D, it was officially renamed X-62A in 2021. The VISTA test aircraft was originally developed in the 1990s as a platform for testing programmable flight control and operating systems. However, in 2019, the Air Force modified VISTA to test 2 autonomous flight software systems developed by DARPA and the Air Force Research Laboratory. DARPA's software, part of the Air Combat Evolution Program, focused on within-visual range dogfighting, while the Air Force's Autonomous Air Combat Operations software specialized in autonomous navigation and beyond visual range combat. In December 2022, DARPA announced that the Air Combat Evolution AI system had been tested on the X-62A, successfully completing its first flight. During testing, AI fully controlled the X-62A, successfully executing maneuvering within visual range. After this test, the X-62A took off again to test the Autonomous Air Combat Operations system, with equally successful results. During actual test flights, the X-62A was not completely unmanned. It carried 2 onboard pilots. The front seat occupant, an aerospace engineer, monitored the AI's performance, while the rear seat flight instructor ensured flight safety. Using these 2 AI flight programs, the X-62A demonstrated its capability to perform a wide range of combat missions. On March 28, 2023, the Air Force announced plans to install an autonomous flight system on F-16 to explore the concept of human-machine teaming. This initiative, called the Viper Experimentation and Next-Gen Operations Mode, aim to build upon the X-62A's progress by integrating more advanced sensor suites and transitioning from simulation to real-world autonomous flight capabilities. The project involves modifying 6 F-16 at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, equipping them with AI-driven autonomous flight systems designed to interact with manned aircraft. This effort lays the groundwork for future integration with the F-35 and 6th-generation fighters in collaborative combat operations. On April 3, 2024, the Air Force announced that the first batch of F-16 equipped with autonomous flight systems had arrived at Eglin Air Force Base, accelerating the pace of testing. Then, on April 19th, DARPA revealed that the U.S. military had already conducted the world's first air combat between an AI-piloted fighter and a manned aircraft at Edwards Air Force Base in the fall of 2023. During the test, the two aircraft came as close as 600 meters. In a statement, DARPA described this event as a transformational moment in aerospace history. However, the results of the test remain classified. Although human pilots suffered a crushing defeat in the AlphaDogfight trials, it is important to note that simulated air combat has its limitations and does not fully reflect real-world conditions. For example, simulations use a health bar to represent damage, lack collision detection, and do not account for the actual impact of damage on an aircraft. For pilots, simulated combat feels like playing a video game, preventing them from performing at their full potential. Moreover, real-world combat involves more complex factors that AI must consider, making actual outcomes uncertain. As things stand, AI may surpass human pilots in reaction speed, but that does not mean human pilots will be defeated in every engagement. In May 2024, Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall personally flew in the AI-piloted X-62A at Edwards Air Force Base, reaching a top speed of 880 kilometers per hour. During the flight, another F-16 piloted by a human engaged in a simulated dogfight within a distance of less than 300 meters. After an hour of flight testing, Kendall expressed strong optimism about AI's potential, stating that it could be entrusted with deciding whether to fire weapons during combat, one of the highest endorsements for AI in military applications. Beyond combat, AI can also serve as an invaluable assistant to human pilots. In real-world operations, unmanned aircraft and manned aircraft can take off together, with drones handling high-risk tasks such as aerial dogfights and suppressing enemy air defenses. Additionally, AI-powered aircraft equipped with advanced processors and computing systems can assist manned fighters in making rapid battlefield decisions. So how does AI assist manned aircraft? One of the primary goals of developing an unmanned version of the F-16 is to lay the foundation for the Collaborative Combat Aircraft program. This initiative aims to develop highly autonomous drones that can carry missiles for strike missions, deploy electronic warfare systems, or use sensors to provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance for friendly forces. According to current plans, CCA drones will be capable of operating alongside 5th and 6th-generation fighter jets, as well as executing missions autonomously, either alone or in coordinated formations. The Air Force has stated its intent to procure at least 1,000 CCA drones, with the actual number likely to exceed this estimate. At first glance, the Viper Experimentation and Next-Gen Operations Mode project, based on the X-62A, might seem to conflict with the CCA program, as both focus on developing autonomous aircraft. However, this is not the case. Developing unmanned wingmen without robust AI capabilities could result in software that struggles to effectively interact with human pilots. In this context, the VENOM project is essential. Advancing AI technology is a prerequisite for making CCA drones truly effective. AI assists manned aircraft primarily through learning. In the military, as in other fields, AI relies on large-scale data and deep learning to build highly accurate reasoning models. Ultimately, the future of air combat will be dominated by AI-controlled aircraft. Human pilots will oversee operations from ground-based command centers or secure positions behind the front lines, monitoring AI-driven fighters, selecting targets, and issuing combat commands. Given the current pace of Air Force development, This combat model is not far off. President Trump has already named the sixth-generation fighter, the F-47, and CCA prototypes have emerged under the designations YFQ-42A and YFQ-44A. Perhaps in the near future, we will witness an F-47 collaborating with two CCA drones in real-world combat.